your searches, and then utilize effective database search skills and use CINAHL as an example to use advanced search function in there. So first we look at the essential components of a research question. I'm not sure how many of you would have done foundations of research in evidence-based practice or have done systematic searching before. Normally, we use a PICO framework to look at a question. This is mostly for clinical questions where people are doing therapy and using interventions to treat patients. But sometimes we are not able to use exact PICO. So there's another framework called, it's same mnemonics with PICO, but it's slightly different. It looks at the population, the phenomena of interest, and the context it is set in. A lot of public health subjects and a lot of qualitative research might use this framework. Okay, so I'll just give you an example of how to go about using this. I'm sure you understand by now the levels of evidence. This is a normal A triangle used when you're searching for evidence. So the best evidence appears at the top. So if you're researching a topic, it's best to search for key terms and see if there are any systematic reviews already available. Then you're able to see what they have done and how they have done their searches. It gives you an idea as to how you can do your searches. Okay. So I have a topic here that says factors influencing general psychological health amongst conflict-affected teenagers in low and middle income countries. I sort of kind of did a research in the topic and I came up with this. So we look at the population here. Are they conflict-affected teenagers? So basically we are choosing our key terms according to the PICO framework. So this is the population, conflict-affected teenagers. General psychological health is our phenomena of interest. So we are wanting to look at general psychological health of these teenage people in the conflict region. Okay, and the setting for us is the low and middle income countries. Sometimes if you find too much information on only searching for low and middle income countries, you can also narrow it down to a particular country like Middle East or Syria or other places where there's conflict happening. So in the beginning, we just, because a lot of times we don't know the subject very well, though you might know because you are studying the subject. If you don't know the subject very well, it's best to use a few terms in the database. The database search box looks like this. And then it's called a scoping search. So you do the best concepts first and see how many results you get. So you can see in the results area, I've got around 11. So I have used those 11 results, which I'll show you later when we do live searches, to build up my search terms. So this is what we call a search grid, where you write your concepts, main concepts. So you can see the population is here, conflict affected. Psychological health we're looking at, which is a phenomena of interest and not an intervention like in normal clinical questions, and the context, where it's based, the setting. We're looking at teenagers, but a lot of databases will help you limit your searches to age groups, so we're not worried about teenagers at the moment. And then you look at additional keywords that could describe the same concept. So through my reading, I've come across these terms here: displaced persons, internally displaced, conflict-induced, war-induced, post-conflict, armed conflict or refugees. And for psychological health, we are only looking at the general psychological health. So we come up with terms that we look at mental health, psychosocial, psychological stress, distress, anxiety, or fear. Or you could go on like worry or stuff like that, and the setting. So this is the preparation you need before you go to the databases to search. So this is a screenshot from the database itself. So that's where you build up your search. So all the searches with an or in the middle of them is similar terms, searching at the same time. So instead of you searching each term separately, you combine them in one line like this. So this is our population. That is the phenomena of interest, this one here, psychological health we're looking at, and then this is a setting. So we search each one separately, and then we combine all the concepts with an and. And because I have changed the words, now my results have gone to ID1. So this is how you build your search. Okay. If you get too many results, and sometimes we do, then there are ways you can refine your search. To be able to refine your search, use your phrases in quotation marks, which means the phrase will be searched in exact order. That will restrict your search a bit and bring the numbers down. You can use the database limits, the language, the age group, or the type of study if you're looking for. You can restrict the keywords in the title and abstract field instead of searching in all the fields. And the databases have subject headings, so you can make the subject headings more specific. Okay. Sometimes you don't get enough results. So in that case, you have to broaden your search. So searching words like, for example, if you're searching the word elderly, and you want to pick up all the variations of the word, so elder, elders, or elderly, you put an asterisk at the right place. So you just type the term once with an asterisk, and all this will be picked up. So it broadens your search a bit, because it will pick up all the terms instead of just elderly. It will pick up elders and elder as well. And the while character we use for spellings, so instead of doing aging with an EI or aging with an ING, different spellings, you put a while character. All these things are available in the database help screens. Add broad subject headings or keywords. If you make it too specific, then you get too few results. And if you're restricting your search too much in the field, then maybe you'll get few results. So these are some things that you have to remember when you're doing database searching. Any questions so far? Is that clear to everyone? Yeah? Yep. Okay. So once you've done the searching and found some articles, good articles, then you can look at the reference list of the articles that you have selected. There's a good place to mine other references. So you look at the reference list and also identify new articles that have cited your article. I don't know how used you are to searching Google Scholar. If you cut and paste an article in Google Scholar, you can see people who are citing it because it says cited by. So you can look at those to look at articles for in research. Okay, and the relevant databases are available on the e-resources page and Guides by School. Catherine, I will also make a PDF copy of my PowerPoint, and I will ask you to just, if you could load it on the website for students to see. Okay. I'm not sure whether you're doing study selection using Prisma, but this is what we use to select the studies when you're doing searching for evidence. We do the database searching and write the exact number of records that we found, and then we remove the duplicates, and then we remove things by screening articles that are not relevant to our inclusion criteria. For example, for my question, I'm only looking at teenagers, so if I find articles that are not about teenagers, I'll exclude those articles and enter it into the table. And right at the end, you'll find articles that you have chosen at the end, and those are the articles you look at. Okay, so I shall just go back to the database. So on the library website, oopsie, I'll go right from the beginning, I think. So on the library website, you'll find databases under e-resources over here, electronic resources. So they're all alphabetical.
I think we can still only see your PowerPoint slides. I'm not sure if that's the same for others.
All right. Okay, I'll just close this one. How's that? Okay.
Right, we can just see your camera now. Lost your desktop.
Okay. How's that?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. I should have closed the screen and then come in, I think.
That's all right.
Okay. So this is the library website, and the electronic resources are from here. So everyone can see the screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have alphabetical by title, if you know the name of the database, or they are also arranged by subject guides. Or you can just go under guides and subject guides by school. So these are all the schools listed here. And we have listed subject guides by broad subject areas. So if you go to health sciences, and then in the middle you can see there are so many databases listed. The reason I showed you the alphabetical list is because not all the databases are listed in the health sciences guide. For example, if you're looking at climate change or global warming, questions related to that, then you might use the e-resources page, and well, still in the guides by school. There's environmental sciences here, environmental. So Environment Complete is the one database to use for climate change issues. This one uses the same search method as the database called CINAHL, which I'm just going to go through with you. So if you know how to search CINAHL, you'll be able to search Environment Complete as well. Okay, so we go back to health sciences and choose CINAHL. If you have any questions during the demonstration, just say so I can answer as I go. Now this search platform, which is called EBSCO Host, has a lot of databases. You can actually choose databases from here. So if I click on here, there's so many databases on the same platform. So if any of these databases you're searching, there's psychology one here, some education ones, sports one, Medline also here. They're all on the same platform. The search methodology will be the same. Okay. So for today's demonstration, we're using CINAHL, and this is a search screen. You can start typing here and searching, and you can apply all the limits either before the search, you run the search, or you can do it after. Most of the time, I would recommend you do the search first, and then you try and apply all the limits. So I'll just run the same search that I did on the PowerPoint so you can have a look. So I'm searching for psychological health. Or mental health. If you're typing everything in the boxes, doing all three components at the same time, you can use the boxes to type in ORs on this line here. So I can type as many ORs as I can in this line, and then with an end, I combine with another concept. So I'll just do two at a time, so I can just show you what I mean. So psychological health and mental health. Conflict affected. Those are my the phenomena of interest or population, conflict affected, or conflict. Okay, so similar terms, and then you can also do low income or middle income. Okay, you can add more lines here if you want, but I would suggest just do each concept separately. This is just scouting the search to see what is out there. So explore your terms and search this. Okay, so I've got 20 results. You can see how the terms that I have typed are actually highlighted a bit, so you can see where they are appearing. And because I found 20 articles, I might be able to go through this and look for more terms or collect terms. That's how I had collected all the terms. This first search is actually called a scoping search, so you just explore the database to see what's out there. Once you have collected your terms, then you can build on your search. And as soon as I've done a search here, if you click here on the search history, just under the box, you can see my search is posted here. Okay, so as I do my searches will be all posted here. So some people would like to do each component of the framework, so they look at search the population first, and then they search the either intervention or the phenomena of interest that you're using, and then they search the place or any other concept one by one, and then they combine it here using an AND or an OR. So those two things are available here too, and they are also available here. Not is rarely used unless you are doing a very big review and you are getting articles that are completely irrelevant. So in those cases, it's not to exclude articles, and this is always done at the end of the search. Okay. So once we look at, so let's see this one here, the systematic review. So look at this one record. So I'll just go into there. So when you go into the record, you can see it has an abstract. So it basically tells you what the article is about, so you don't end up getting full text of articles that are that is not relevant to your research. And also in the middle here, you've got subjects that you can use. So if this article is very close to your research, for example, this one here, if I really want to use this, then I'll be able to use these subject headings here. Before I did my search, I did not know that low and middle income countries is a subject heading. So now I know. So that means I can also search by subject heading, okay? The reason you do subject heading search and keyword search, the keyword picks up keywords anywhere in the title and the abstract and anywhere else there's text in the article. But subject headings are assigned by people who have read the article and have decided that this article is about this particular subject. So if you want your search to be precise and more towards the subject of the article, it's a good idea to use the subject headings as well. Okay, so you either use keyword or subject heading. The way you use subject headings, you can go straight to subject headings from here and explore. So if I were doing, so try not to refugees. So in case I wanted to find out if refugees is a subject heading, so you browse the subject heading. Oh, actually, I didn't write it already. It's refugees, not refugees. Okay. Okay. So in the database, refugees actually a subject heading. It says for refugee, use subject heading refugees. Okay. So on the side of the subject heading, there's an explanation here. So you can see what it says. And also there are two boxes here that says explode or a major concept, okay? So if you want the refugees to be the major concept of the article, then you click on here. Otherwise, you just leave it like that. If you click on the term to include in your search, if you click on this side, then you can see there are some subheadings also coming. Because for my question, I'm only looking for psychological aspects, I can choose psychological aspects of refugees, okay? So I have to click on here and then it posts over here, okay? It also types your keyword over here. And if I wanted to also use refugee as a keyword, I will take my keyword as well. So the database will search refugees as a keyword because that's what I entered, and also refugees and psychological aspects as a subject. Okay, it will be searching either or. So you can see or is highlighted here. So search. Okay, so you can see the search is posted here. So it's set number 2. If you start combining here, which I'm not going to do because the concepts are, well, I could add to it and the concepts are different. I could combine these two here. Before you do that, you have to remember to clear this area. This is a, the database has this problem that the vendors are not able to fix. So before you do any combining here, you clear this area. See this clear button? Okay. And then you combine from here, click both, and then do an AND. The reason you do an AND, because this is a different concept. Okay, this is the population, and this is another concept here, mental health. Okay, but at the moment this line is not correct because I have done all 3 together. Okay, so I would not combine this. Okay, the reason why you combine with an or is because you're searching similar concept. If you want to add more terms here instead of typing here, you'll be able to do it from here as well. So I can edit this line and add with an or. Conflict affected or more affected or what else can I write? Displaced persons. Okay, so all of these I can add and then save this. Okay, so see the numbers gone up. So instead of, there's another way of doing it. It depends what style you'd like. Whether you use the search boxes and do all your searches and post it here, in which case you have to be careful on when you're combining the line numbers. Otherwise, you can do a quick search and then you can add it over here. Okay. This search here has got all the concepts because this is, I did it all in one go. This was only for me to look at the records and see how many keywords I can pick up and if there are any subject headings that I can use. So while I was looking at these records, I found out that refugees is a subject heading. So I have to revise my terms to use refugees as a subject heading. It's a good idea to create a search grid and write all this down. So when you're doing your final search, you are doing them in order. So look, when I'm showing you the PICO, the PICO, you do them in order. So you do the population first and combine that with the, then combine that with the phenomena of interest, and then the setting where it happens, which is low and middle income countries. Once you've done that, then you'll be able to apply all the other things. So if I did my search completely, I would also apply age limit because I'm only looking at teenagers. Okay, so instead of typing teenagers and adolescents and youth on a search line, you can use the limits here. So if I were looking at only adolescents, which is 13 to 18 years old, there will be 992 results. So apply the limit at the end. And you can also apply language, different languages as well, and also the date. So if your assignment says you look at stuff in the last 5 years, then you apply the dates as well. Okay. When you're applying limits from here, the database usually does it one by one. Like if you choose one here, one here, one here. But if you want to apply all the limits, just on the first limit 2, it says, go show me more. And then here you can apply all the limits at the same time. Okay. Okay, making sense, or is it very confusing? Anyone? Anyone got any questions?
Anyone, now's your chance to ask. It's been I've learned things just then. Refresher as well. Yeah, has anyone got anything specific that they, you know, if they've started looking at searching using these the mesh headings and whatnot, if they're a little bit lost, now's your chance to jump in. No.
Okay, I'll show you another way to find headings. Okay, so if you've got your keywords all written down, the best way to find out if there are subject headings and do the search at the same time for that subject heading. So if I was going to find out if displaced persons has a subject heading, okay, so I'll type displaced persons and see this little box here, you say suggest, and then you search. So the database will suggest the subject heading, okay? So for displaced persons, the database is telling me to use refugees, okay? So I use the database term, which is refugees, but I'm only looking at psychological, so I'll choose here, make it more narrow. But I can also use displaced persons as a keyword, because displaced persons is used in the literature. Through our scoping review, we have seen or I found those terms. The reason we do this is because if the indexes have missed some articles, you'll find it by a keyword, okay? But if you are finding a lot of stuff on a particular subject, it's best to narrow it down by using the database subject heading. But when we are doing a systematic review or searching for evidence, we do not want to miss any evidence. So every word that you can think of that's in the literature, you use, and also the relevant subject heading in the database. So in that regard, we are not missing out on anything. So we use keywords and subject terms. Otherwise, normally when you are doing your undergraduate study, you are asked to do an assignment and do a literature review. You just go there, take a few words and search, and maybe you find 10, 12 articles that you can write your essay with. But if you're doing searching for evidence, you don't want to miss any evidence that is out there. And well, yours is an undergraduate level of unit, but a lot of people, when they do systematic review, they publish it. And when they publish the review, then they're asked to provide a search strategy. So how they have done the search, so that somebody else can repeat it. And people who are experts in the field, if they look at your search strategy and what terms you have used, can tell from that strategy that you have missed some important articles. Okay.
You are required in this assignment to just provide your search strategy. So yeah, it doesn't need to be as structured possibly as a systematic review, but I do want to see an output of all those combinations that Katrina's just been talking about, how you've used them to get to where you are. So it is it's an accountability to know that you've really done a thorough search, really, through those step-by-step process. So it is to take note that that is a part of your assignment as well.
Okay. So so you take both teams and it posts on the side here, so you search it. And then it posts your results here. Okay. Clear this, and if you need to combine here. So I would suggest do a exploring kind of search. So put all your concepts together in the box and then find out how much you got. And then you go through those articles to see how you can pick up terms. Use the search grid, write the terms down, and also write how you're going to combine the terms. So it's easier in the database when you're applying things in the database. Because if you write all this down properly, you can just use this whole thing like that. If you write it on paper, you can copy it here and just search it. Okay, so you can see the same search. I did here in 2 goes, same result, same result. So when you are doing your searches, your paper and pencil is also important, or if you're typing, just write it out so you can see what you've done, because sometimes you can make errors here, but if you're writing it down, you'll say, oh, these are all the O terms that I need to use, and this is one single concept. and then the next concept is different, and all the O's on that next concept, like that. Okay.
I think that's a very, very important point. I agree completely with you there, Katrina. That documenting what you're doing is key for not getting lost later on.
That's right.
You know,
yeah.
Do quite a convoluted search and you find some great articles, but then, you know, you've got to suddenly go out and do something and then to come back. If you haven't documented or saved in the database what you've looked at, then you're not going to know where you found the previous searches. So, yeah, I learned that the hard way, and I found that the more specific in my documentation of what I had completed each time really helped me sort of run those searches to the best that I could. So
yeah,
I think that's a very, very important point.
Yeah. Because I've noticed in the, I usually provide feedback on high degree students' searches. Most of the time they make errors here.
Yeah, okay.
They combine the wrong lines. You need to be careful before you come to the database to see which ones are you going to be O's, which ones are different concept, which one is the same. So every time you do a search, there are a couple of concepts, like 1, 2, 3 in the question that you have to search separately. And each concept will have some synonyms that people use or some other related term. So you have to all write it down so before you come to the database. So it's easier for you to do it one by one. Okay. Because right now, if I ask you to look at my search, you might be thinking, what is she doing here? You know? Because I've done it haphazardly. But if I were to do each of these, say for example, I'll just get rid of these. You can delete your searches from here. So if I were to build on this search, I will do all the OR terms for this concept first, and then post the results. That means I'll use more terms in this bracket. And then I will do all the ones for this one second, and then I will do this one third. So you'll have 3 lines here, and then you combine it with an end. Make sense?
Yep. Does that make sense, guys? Being a little bit lost, Rebecca? Talk up. Now's your chance to clarify things. If you want to, the other thing too is once you get in and play, it might make a bit more sense.
Yeah.
And
the database has a help screen over here that gives you some tips on searching, like using inverted commas. So if I were to wanted to find displaced persons in inverted commas, they're probably all inverted together, but if I want to find exactly together, then I put it in inverted commas and then search it. So it will, in the searches, it will appear exactly like that in the same order. If I don't put inverted commas here, then it will also search for displaced and persons. That's why the results are huge. So the results are less. So if you are getting a lot of results for something that you are searching, then you have to put inverted commas so they find the terms together. And if you're searching broad terms like climate change or global warming, then you'll get a lot of results. You have to make it more specific. So if in the climate change area, if you're just looking at high temperatures, you have to call it that. So search for high temperatures and not just climate change, because climate change is a very broad topic. So that's how you make it more specific. Okay, I clear this. So I'll search one without the. Okay, so you can see the results are slightly different. So this one is searching it exactly as a phrase, and this one is searching it not as a phrase. So it must be looking at displaced some places and persons, and also displaced persons. So there's more results. So if you want it exactly, you put it in inverted commas. Okay. And another trick I will show you, another tip is if you're searching for different variations of term, emotion. So if I just type in emotion, I will just get emotion. But if I want emotional, so instead of typing emotion or emotional, I will put an asterisk there. So it'll search for emotion as well as emotional. Okay, so you can see how many records it picks up. You do this when you are getting very, very low results. If you're looking for emotional, if the term emotional is in your search, or you're looking for some sort of emotional well-being, and if you're not getting enough articles, if you use the asterisk, it will pick up emotional as well, or emotionless, emotional. Okay.
Some very, very useful tips there. Yeah, I use those two, broadening or narrowing tools a lot, especially in health. There's, a lot of, if you're looking for heart disease, if you separate them, you're going to get a huge pool of information as opposed to bringing them together. So, yeah. They're very useful little tricks of the trade, so to speak.
So also in the limit area, you can narrow it down to full text. Are they allowed to do this, or narrow it down to full text? Articles? Yeah,
I mean, it's always beneficial to pull the full article, so it's probably best to...
Yeah, because this is an assessment, you can narrow it down to full text only.
Yeah.
But if you're doing an actual review to be published and stuff, I normally don't advise you to use full text, because otherwise you'll restrict your search to only articles that are full text in this database.
Yeah.
Because there might be articles here that are very important to your research, but are not full text in this database. But for assignment purposes, you can do it for narrow down to full text. That way you get all the PDFs sitting right there. Okay. So if you choose these articles to write in your review, you just get the full text. Okay.
Wonderful. Any questions?
Everyone is very quiet.
I know, everyone's hiding. Amina, do you have any questions?
Not at the moment.
You feel confident, you all feel confident to go about your searching now and pulling that information for that assessment?
Seems all right.
Seems right. Yeah, fantastic.
Does anybody want to ask any question about the topics they have chosen? Maybe I can recommend some databases. I think you're asking for 2 databases at least.
Yep. You're all happy with the topics that you've chosen? You don't need any direction regarding where to search or how to possibly narrow your content? No. Happy?
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
So if you're required to give your search strategy, you can cut and paste this part, or if you just do print search history, you can actually do this as well. But I think most of the things electronic, so you can just cut and paste this bit in your assessment when you hand it in.
That's useful. Yeah.
Unless you want to write it down, which I don't think you want to do, because it just wastes time. So you just cut and paste from here. So it'll be very clear as to how you have done your search, because Catherine is going to be able to see that you have done the right combinations, which is doing the synonyms and related terms with an or, because you're searching all the terms, and then combining the different concepts with an and, because you want to find all these articles in the same, all the terms in the same document. So the most important bit is to remembering the or and and, or how do you combine, and then remember to do the numbers correctly, and also check the subject headings to see if there is any related subject heading for your topic. Okay.
Wonderful. I think that's, I found that useful, and I hope you all have as well.
Okay.
So I am recording this, and I'll put it up on View. So if you're get into your searching and can't remember exactly the processes for a few of the methods or the ways that Katrina's shown us, you can go back and revisit it, okay?
Catherine, I'll also give you my PowerPoint, and I will also add to it 2 videos, one on searching with the headings.
Yep.
Another one is the advanced search that I have just done. Those are from the vendors, and they're very good videos, so the students will be able to watch those as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, I think that if you haven't got any burning questions, now is your last chance, but we'll leave it in your hands. The resources will be there, so hopefully you don't feel too lost, and I look forward to seeing what you all find on your topic areas. And yeah, that was very clear and concise and wonderful information. Thanks, Katrina. Like I said, you're a powerhouse in this world of reviews and systematic reviews. So thank you for your skills, and I'll put all of this up online, and I'll give an announcement. I'll put it all in the assessment folder, but I'll announce that also on views where to find it. So hopefully you can revisit it over Easter, and if you do have really unanswered questions, what's the best channel to sort of get some support from the library, Katrina, if they're still quite lost?
Well, if people need assistance next week, what do you think, Catherine? I can answer questions on views if you have a...
Yeah, actually that's the best idea. I'll open a discussion board.
Okay.
On views, and I'll call it library.
Yeah.
And then that's a very good idea. So I'll open a discussion board, and then you'll be able to see that, Katrina, and answer, and that'll give everyone else access to what's being discussed as well. So yeah, that's great.
I'll check that every day next week, so that should be good.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And anything specific to the question in the assignment, email me, and there's also an assessment thread on views for that as well. But if it's related to the searching and questions surrounding that, then we'll put it on the library tab, on the library thread.
Okay.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you. Everyone have a nice break. Hopefully you get a little bit of a break and not drowned in assignments, and we'll talk next Thursday, and thank you for your time, Katrina. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
See you, everyone. Bye.
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 Thank you.